My boyfriend let his pick-me best friend hijack his proposal and humiliate me, so I dumped him. Tim has his best friend Mimi. Tim also has a friend group he is very close to. The problem throughout our relationship was that Tim would place me last whenever his friends were involved. He missed a promotion dinner for my work because Mimi's dog was throwing up. He missed Diwali celebrations with my family because his friends wanted him to help paint their new house. Plus, some issues during his teenage years involving his friends resulted in his dad threatening to take away his inheritance and distribute it to relatives. Now, I have outright told Tim that I don't like public proposals. I am very introverted, and having eyes on me during a loving moment will only cause me anxiety. Tim said he understood and promised he wouldn't do one when he proposed. Another thing I told Tim was that Mimi treats me passive-aggressively because I'm kind of an anxious person. I have mild OCD, and asked him to not involve her in our affairs. Tim said Mimi only wants the best for us. Thursday, after I entered my flat, I was greeted by all of Tim's friends, with Tim in a suit and a ring in hand. I kid you not, my flat was swarmed. There were people I didn't even know. Before Tim even said anything, Mimi chimed in and said, "Chill OP, dear God, this is not the time to make that face." I saw red. I was having a severe anxiety attack, as I don't do well with lots of people. I calmly told them that there would be no proposal, and to get the hell out of my flat. They looked like in shock, so I just left my flat with just my purse, called my best friend on the way, and told her to get them out, and just called car service and sat in the car crying for 2 hours, and went to my cabin I brought. I texted my parents, so they wouldn't worry, and told them to not take Tim's calls, switched off my phone, and stayed there. I called Tim in the car, and he sounded defeated and kept on apologizing and crying. I told him it was over. Turns out my best friend told his dad, who was so mad, he told him that he would only get half his inheritance. I now feel that I reacted very badly and could have handled it with grace. I might have let my anxiety take over and overreacted, and I cost him his money. Update. I went and spoke to Tim's dad first. He was very mad at his son. He kept saying that Tim had finally crossed limits with that group and asked me to forgive his son. I respectfully told him that even if I got back with his son, my dad wouldn't approve, which was true. And I said that because I knew for Tim's dad, my dad's opinion mattered more. His dad then said that he was deeply sorry and that he would still support me if I needed help in the future. And I decided to take the things he left at my flat to him because I didn't want him over mine ever again. Tim said he was very sorry, that he hadn't thought I was being genuine about my social anxiety. He has seen me get panic attacks in crowds, and he thought that his friends' enthusiasm would be a positive thing. I asked him why none of my friends were there, and he said that because I have a very small number of friends, he thought we would have a nice dinner with them to share the news. Not gonna lie, his words hurt because his friends deserved to be at the proposal, but mine didn't because there were only 5 of them. Tim also mentioned that Mimi didn't like one of my friends because she was a single mom, and it just made me more mad. I told him that he would be better off marrying Mimi because it was quite clear everything in his life was about her. I told him that he was a shut partner, and the reason why I wouldn't marry him and his dad is going to cut off his money is because he has let Mimi bully me throughout our relationship, and it was Mimi's words that made me leave the proposal. Tim looked very hurt and started apologizing. He also said that he never cheated on me, that he loved me, and he promised to do better. I told him I'd give him a chance if he cut off every one of his friends and moved with me to another city. He started crying at that and said he possibly couldn't live that way and asked me to reconsider. I told him I knew he would never choose me over his friends, and I was feeling very petty, so I told him that Mimi would also never choose him over her successful boyfriend, nor would any of his friends choose him over their own families. He told me he was very sorry, and that he would limit contact with them, but I told him there was no way I was going to be with him. I dropped his things, and I wanted to cry because he wouldn't even get up from the sofa or apologize, or say that he wouldn't speak to Mimi again. He just turned his face away. I left. Mimi later came by to my flat and asked if we could talk, so I let her in. My friend says it was a dumb move, but I was working and crying at the same time, so I wasn't thinking much. She said that Tim yelled at her for ruining his relationship, and she didn't know what she did wrong. I honestly had zero energy for her, and just told her if she was done talking to please leave. Mimi said that she just wanted to be there for Tim, and me making his dad cut him off was an awful thing to do. I then asked why she made a comment she knew would piss me off when I was being proposed to. Mimi replied that it was a joke, and I shouldn't have taken her seriously. I just asked her to leave after that. She said she hoped I would be happy in the future, so I guess that was it.